What if the very things you once saw as flaws, the quietness, the overwhelm in crowds, the intense dislike for small talk, weren't weaknesses at all, but blueprints of a rare soul design? What if the traits you tried to suppress were actually signs of deep, intuitive intelligence, an ancient compass pointing toward your purpose? Have you ever felt your flaws were secretly pointing you toward who you really are? Comment 1 if you've tried to hide your sensitivity or quiet nature. Comment 2 if you're starting to see those traits as your compass. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." And for those who carry the quiet fire of introversion, looking inside isn't optional. It's essential. You don't just process the world, you decode it. You're not detached, you're tuned in. You're not awkward, you're perceiving subtleties others miss. This isn't about being shy. It's about being sensitive to frequencies most people don't register. Introverts, especially INFJs and INTJs, live at the edge of silence where meaning is born. Their minds are built not for noise, but for nuance, for scanning tonal shifts, for sensing the emotional undercurrents in a room, for predicting changes long before they surface. Jung's concept of introverted intuition, I, isn't just a personality trait. It's a soul function. It seeks patterns behind chaos, meaning beneath the mundane, and vision beyond the veil. It is the function of the rare ones, the lone wolves, the internal architects, the silent sages. This article is for you, the intuitive who's been told you're too intense, too serious, too quiet. The one who feels like an alien in a world obsessed with speed and spectacle. The one whose depth has been mistaken for distance. You're about to uncover 7 signs, hidden markers of your inner architecture, that reveal you're not lacking. You're luminous. And once you recognize these signs, you'll stop doubting your depth. Key 1. You don't see the world, you decode it. Ever feel like you're watching a movie everyone else is acting in, oblivious to the script you're quietly reading between the lines? You're not just seeing faces or hearing words. You're scanning energy, noticing the twitch in someone's eye when they lie, feeling the knot in their gut when they smile through pain. Your mind is a radar, attuned to frequencies beneath the noise. This is the gift of introverted intuition. Jung described it as an inward-turning function that perceives the world not as it appears, but as it could be. It's a visionary's lens. While others react to events, you anticipate them. You may have been told you overthink. But overthinking is a misdiagnosis. What you're actually doing is absorbing subtle cues, body language, tone shifts, micro-expressions, and assembling them into larger patterns. Like a chess player, you're always a few moves ahead, even in silence. You've likely startled people with your insights. You know things before they're said. You name truths others haven't yet faced. This can be unsettling, not just for them, but for you. You're decoding reality through symbols, patterns, and instincts that feel ancient. And yet, in a world obsessed with the obvious, your depth can feel like a curse. But it's not. It's your edge. It's what lets you read rooms, deconstruct facades, and protect your peace before chaos arrives. The world moves in pixels. You see in patterns. That's not a flaw. That's your genius. Key 2. Solitude feeds you more than social validation. There's a sacredness in being alone that few understand. For you, solitude isn't empty. It's expansive. You're not antisocial. You're selective. You crave connection, but only the kind that honors your inner truth. You've learned that being surrounded by noise often leaves you lonelier than being with your own thoughts. Your solitude is an alchemical chamber. It's where ideas form, where healing happens, where you reconnect with your essence. Jung said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." And so, you retreat, not to escape, but to remember. In solitude, you become the alchemist, turning silence into strategy, intuition into vision. This isn't isolation, it's incubation. You choose self-alignment over applause, Depth over validation. You understand that energy is currency, and not everyone deserves access to your frequency. You don't socialize for sport. You connect for soul. Your ability to be with yourself is a superpower in a world desperate for distraction. It allows you to hear the whisper of your own wisdom. It's in these quiet hours that you remember. You are not here to perform. You are here to be. Your solitude isn't your weakness. It's your sanctuary. Key 3. You are both the observer and the architect. You don't just feel emotions. You watch them. You don't just experience life. You design it. This duality is part of your inner blueprint. You carry both introspective depth and strategic vision. One side of you swims in emotion, sensing nuance and need. The other builds structures, mental, emotional, even physical, that reflect your inner clarity. Carl Jung outlined how intuition pairs with either feeling or thinking, creating two powerful profiles, the empathic INFJ and the strategic INTJ. Though different in expression, both perceive the world through the same pattern-seeking lens. You have a rare metacognitive distance. You can feel pain and analyze it. You can love deeply and design your exit if needed. You live in paradox, and that's your power. You don't react, you respond. And more than that, you pre-build. Like an architect, you envision outcomes, adjust variables, and design futures, all in silence. This is the essence of quiet leadership. You shape reality from within. While others scramble in crisis, you've already sketched the map. Your calm isn't passive. It's predictive. It's not that you don't care. It's that you've already calculated the storm and built your shelter. You are both the observer and the architect. That's not indecision. That's multidimensional mastery. Key 4. Old soul in a fast world. You've always felt like time moved too quickly for your soul. While others chase speed, you seek stillness. While others want more, you crave meaning. You're an old soul in a world of instant gratification, and that creates a kind of ache, a longing, a knowing that you were meant to move slower, deeper, wiser. Jung's idea of the collective unconscious suggests that we carry ancestral memories, archetypal wisdom imprinted in our psyche. And you, dear reader, are tapped into that stream. You've felt truths you couldn't explain, asked questions too big for your age, seen symbols in places others saw only scenery. Your childhood was marked by moments of eerie clarity. Perhaps you asked why we die, or where dreams come from. You weren't precocious. You were remembering. You noticed things. A wilted flower, a faltering tone, a pause between words, and assign them meaning others miss. You think in metaphors. You speak in soul, and while that can feel lonely, it's also your lighthouse. You're not here to keep up. You're here to slow down the world. Does your soul crave stillness in a culture that won't hit pause? Comment 1 if you've deliberately chosen slower, deeper living. Comment 2 if you feel rushed but long to slow down. You bring presence into a culture addicted to performance. You bring depth into spaces ruled by distraction. Your stillness is disruptive and necessary. Yes, you feel alone. But it's not because you're lost. It's because you're ahead. Key 5. Your energy is quiet, but magnetic. It's not how loudly you speak. It's the frequency you radiate. Your energy doesn't shout. It resonates. You walk into a room and something shifts. Not because you demand attention, but because your presence is undeniable. Your calm makes people feel seen or exposed. Carl Jung's individuation process describes the integrated self, where ego, shadow, and soul converge. You, consciously or not, have begun walking this path. And it shows. You've met your darkness and didn't flinch. You've shed personas and reclaimed your core. That kind of work creates a centeredness the world rarely understands, but deeply feels. You unsettle the insecure. They can't place it, but they sense that you see through them. And you do. That's not cruelty. It's clarity. You carry truth in your silence, and your eyes become mirrors. Others trust you without knowing why. They confess things they've buried. They feel safer around you. Or they run. Your presence is an energetic filter. It invites the authentic and repels the performative. This isn't charisma. It's coherence. Your outer stillness mirrors your inner alignment. You don't need to convince. You are. That's magnetic. Key 6. You crave purpose over popularity. You've never chased applause. You've chased alignment. The metrics of fame, followers, and external validation feel empty next to the hunger you carry for purpose. It's not that you don't want to be seen. It's that you want to be seen truly. Your soul isn't satisfied with superficial success. It wants resonance, impact, legacy. For INFJs, this often means healing, guiding, bringing peace. For INTJs, it means architecting systems, building visions that outlast trends. Both are driven not by ego, but by vision. This is the call of individuation, the sacred process Jung described of becoming who you were, always meant to be. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet voice saying, "You were meant for more." That restlessness that won't let you numb out. You're not here to blend in. You're here to build something timeless. And while that road is lonely, it's not wrong. It's just rare. Your path may not make sense to others, but it doesn't have to. It makes sense to your soul. And that's the only compass that matters. You don't crave popularity. You crave purpose. That's why you were born different. Key 7. You predict people. You don't just observe people. You forecast them. You see patterns where others see personality. You sense the coming storm in someone's energy long before they speak. Carl Jung believed that much of our perception operates unconsciously. Your intuitive mind picks up micro-expressions, tone shifts, contradictions in body language, and stitches them together into startling foresight. You've likely shocked others with your accuracy. You've ended friendships before betrayal happened. You've distanced yourself before chaos unfolded. Not because of paranoia, but because of pattern recognition. You sense incongruence when someone's words don't match their energy, and you listen to that signal. You've learned the hard way what happens when you don't. Over time, your discernment has become razor sharp, not from judgment, but from observation. You don't gather gossip. You gather data. You protect your peace, not by building walls, but by reading maps. You don't predict the future. You read the present so well, the future reveals itself. Key 8. You question everything, even yourself. You don't settle for easy answers. You interrogate reality, especially your own. And while others may call it overthinking, what you're actually doing is seeking truth. This relentless self-inquiry is a hallmark of the individuating soul. Jung didn't see this kind of questioning as neurotic. He saw it as necessary. He wrote that individuation requires peeling away inherited layers, confronting illusions, and enduring the discomfort of growth. You've questioned your identity, your beliefs, your purpose, not out of doubt, but out of devotion. You refuse to live on autopilot. You'd rather feel the ache of truth than the anesthesia of conformity. You've deconstructed old programming, religion, family roles, cultural expectations, and faced the existential loneliness that often follows. You've stared into the void and asked, "Who am I really?" And in doing so, you've become fire. You've burned away falsehoods. And now, what's left is real, raw, radiant. You are not broken. You are becoming. Key 9. You've met your shadow and didn't run. Most people avoid their darkness. You turned toward it. You sat with your wounds, your rage, your shame, and you stayed. Jung famously said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." You've done this work. You've faced the buried pain, the childhood trauma, the abandonment, the unmet needs. You've touched the raw edges of your humanity. You didn't bypass it. You integrated it. You didn't collapse. You transformed. This kind of healing is not gentle. It's not Instagrammable. It's brutal and sacred. It's how steel is forged, through fire and pressure and time. And because of it, you've earned your peace. Your calm is not softness. It's resilience. Your wisdom isn't theory. It's lived. Have you faced your shadow and come out steadier on the other side? Comment 1 if you've turned toward your darkness to heal. Comment 2 if you're just beginning that work and gathering courage. You've become whole, not by avoiding the shadow, but by reclaiming it. What once brought shame now brings strength. You didn't run from your darkness. You made it your depth. Key 10. You feel others' pain as your own. You walk into a room and feel everything. The tension behind a smile. The grief in someone's silence. The unspoken plea behind polite words. You don't just notice emotions. You absorb them. It's as if your nervous system is tuned to the frequency of suffering. For INFJs, this often shows up as emotional spongehood, taking on others' feelings without trying. For INTJs, it's more analytical, systemic empathy, seeing where pain comes from and how to prevent it. Either way, it's not weakness. It's a superpower. You are a conduit for compassion, a bridge between seen and unseen pain. Jung saw this depth of empathy as a connection to the collective unconscious, a shared human field where we're all energetically linked. And yes, it's exhausting, but it's also transformative. Because you don't just feel, you transmute. You turn pain into insight, sorrow into art, chaos into clarity. You've cried for strangers. You've ached for the world. But you've also healed with your presence alone. Your sensitivity isn't soft, it's sacred. Key 11. Imagination is a portal, not a pastime. Your visions are not daydreams. They are instructions. You see things before they exist. You build from the invisible. This is not fantasy. It's a Jungian tool called active imagination, a method where the unconscious speaks in images, symbols, dreams. And you, intuitive one, are fluent in that language. You've always been able to see what others call impossible. You prototype futures in your mind, test them, refine them, and then quietly manifest them. Others may not understand. They may mock or minimize. But when your visions unfold, they fall silent. Because you don't just dream, you deliver. Your imagination is sacred architecture. It bridges soul and structure, possibility and presence. Don't shrink it to fit the room. Let it build the room. Key 12. Born to lead quietly, powerfully. You were never meant to follow, but you weren't meant to dominate either. You were meant to lead quietly. True leadership, as Jung described, comes from deep self-awareness, from shadow work, from wholeness. You've done this work, and it shows. You don't lead by command. You lead by presence, by the steadiness in your silence, by the way others feel safe around you, even when you say little. You've walked through fire, and now you walk with clarity. That's what gives your voice weight. That's why people listen. You're not here to be the loudest. You're here to be the most anchored. And others feel it. They follow. Not your volume, but your vibration. You don't need to prove. You just need to remember. You are a leader. Not by force, but by frequency. Let's go deeper than type labels. INFJ, INTJ. Those are useful tools. But what you embody is something far more archetypal. You are a decoder of the real, a protector of energy, a translator of unseen truths. You are a living example of Jung's soul blueprint, the conscious human who dares to individuate, to integrate, to remember. Your strength is not in your speech, but your silence, not in performance, but in presence. You don't fit in because you were meant to stand out. Quietly, powerfully, radiantly. If you see yourself in these words, if something ancient and electric stirred in your bones, then this isn't just content. It's confirmation. You are part of the rare 1%, the intuitive architects, the soul-led visionaries who build from within. Declare it. I see the world differently. No more apologizing for your depth. No more explaining your vision to those committed to misunderstanding. No more shrinking to fit the surface. This isn't a group. It's a homecoming. Welcome back. Welcome in. Welcome home. Do these words feel like a homecoming for you? Comment 1 if you're claiming this quiet, luminous path is yours. Comment 2 if you're curious and want to learn more before you step in.